Greetings, Ben Murray here with another edition of SaaS Metrics School. Welcome. So, reader question from John had some questions about how to count downgrades, upgrades at a renewal. So let's go through this scenario. And if you have questions, email me at ben@thesaascfo.com that you'd like me to cover on future episodes. Can't guarantee you can get to all of them, but please email those questions and I'm happy to address. So, question here. Let's go to the figures here. So we have a customer who is paying 24K in ARR. So that's 2K of MRR per month if we're rev recking that. So let's say in month 6, they're just ready to go. The product didn't work, or who knows, maybe they ran out of cash. They're going to default on their contract, whatever it might be. So they've talked to our account management team, customer success team. They're 6 months in. They're like, hey, we're not happy, but our rep, our CS does a great job at saving them. They keep the customer, but they're going to pay less. They're like, okay, we'll stay, but we're going to pay less. So now that annual contract value went from 24K to 12K. So now they're paying 1K a month. So what happens when we're tracking that? Is this a downgrade? Is this a churn? Do we cancel that previous contract? How do we account for this? One, in our bookings, that's one thing. And then 2, how does this flow into our revenue streams? So they're paying us they signed up for 24K ARR. Now they're paying us let's just say maybe that's monthly invoicing, 2K a month, or we're rev recking it out because it's an annual invoice and it shows 2K a month in our MRR waterfall. So now month 7 in July, we did the negotiation in June, and now they're paying 12K annually, 1K a month. So that would show a downgrade in my bookings report because there is a sales motion to recontract with this customer. And that is technically a downgrade because they didn't leave us. There's no churn here, but they're paying less. So that for me, that's a downgrade booking that's going to show up in my bookings report in month 6 or in June, say, for example. So 12K net negative in our bookings report. And then when we look at our MRR waterfall, we're going to then see a downgrade as well to get us to the right MRR level. So it's going to go from 2K a month down to 1K a month. So that's going to affect our revenue retention. It's going to affect our gross dollar retention, and it's going to affect our net revenue retention. So we get dinged on our bookings report, we get dinged on our revenue retention, but we save the customer. There's no churn of 24K. So again, this can happen a lot. Intra-contract changes where a sales team member is involved. And in that case, if we have a change in the contract value, that's going to result in a booking, whether that's an upgrade or a downgrade. So we have to track it there. And then, of course, that's going to flow through our revenue, depending on our rev rec policies, depending on if we're invoicing annually or monthly. So we have to make sure we track this correctly for a lot of purposes. One, for bookings, because say we actually expanded them, that's going to flow into our cost of ARR expansion. So we can track that appropriately for our go-to-market efficiency metrics. And then also if there's a sales motion on a contraction, that also, I do include that in my net expansion downgrade number. That's also going to flow into my cost of ARR expansion because there was an expense, there was a sales expense to keep that customer, contract that customer, but it resulted in a downgrade. So important for bookings, it flows into our go-to-market efficiency metrics. And of course, we have to contract this right because then we've got to give this over to accounting so we can adjust that invoice schedule appropriately and any effect to the rev rec framework for this customer and this invoice. So John, appreciate that question. Great question. And again, if you have any questions that you'd like me to address, email me at ben@thesaascfo.com.